Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. If you haven't seen me before, I'm Adam Steele for Hot Pole Studios, and usually we're in my nice recording studio that I like to call Studio 1. Today we're doing a video that's aimed at something a little different, a little more kind of small budget home studio, and so I am at home. This is my Studio B. This is kind of my office. This is where I work when I'm at home, when I've got to look after the baby or do a little bit of work in the evening. So let's talk about today's product. It is this microphone from Fifine technology. Fifine. They're a Chinese company, as far as I can tell, who reached out and wanted me to look at this mic. It's a USB mic, and they reckon it's good for Skype and YouTube. So, on with the show. Now, my home setup for doing these kind of live streams is a little bit overly elaborate. I am using, I'll just use this this webcam. I'm using a GoPro or a Logitech webcam, depending on the situation. But in terms of the sound, I'm using an SE X1A, which is about an £80 mic. Then that's connected through to an Audient ID4. I absolutely love the sound of the ID4, and I use it if I've ever got to record anything of a professional quality whilst I'm at home, which is rare, but it happens. But quite honestly, for doing this kind of thing with a mic boomed in just for talking, it's overkill. It's more than anybody needs, which is great, but that means that I'm spending nearly £200 on a setup for a single microphone for basic voiceover. I mean, if I'm doing anything that's, you consider professional quality, I go to my studio where I have proper shotgun mics, full-scale preamps, professional cameras, all that kind of thing. This is not that. So this microphone from Fifine, or Fifine, or Fifine, I'm going to pronounce it a million different ways before we finish today, is something I'm going to open now. And it is, let's switch, focus, there we go. Let's see if I can open this. Okay, so the box is quite heavy. Let's see what's inside. So it's got a hilarious little sticker. See if we can focus on it. It says, "Dear all, thank you for being our valued customer. We hope to meet your needs and impressing you with our customer experience. A product demonstration video in Fifine Web that offers operation functionality you could ever want." What? Safe to say, these guys may or may not make a good product, and we'll find out very soon, but they are not particularly good at making English. I had a flick through the book before, so this isn't much of an unboxing. And I found, much to my amusement, the specification. Now, if you're anything of a tech head, you will look at these and you'll go, equivalent noise level, 66 dBA. That's ridiculously high. If that's right, that means that it's going to sound like an absolute snowstorm coming through. Now, on a side note, apologies to everybody for the background noise in here. I'm using this mic, and that cabinet there is the boiler for the house. So you will get some of that on the background, but if I switch so you can see my desktop capture, this is Voicemeeter Banana in the top left, and this is what I've started using. This thing is absolutely amazing. So I use this for all my not YouTube stuff necessarily, but definitely for Skyping people and recording any audio that I have to do in this room, because the input here, one of these channels I can do the ACO from something like Reaper, but also here, this is the microphone input, and you can see the levels. If I that was the compressor that I just turned off. I'm having to shout now, but if I turn the compressor back on just a little, that's inbuilt. There's also a gate, which if I turn that off entirely and just hold my breath, you can really hear the background noise in this room. But if I turn the gate up to be quite harsh, that dies off quite quickly. Now, why is that relevant for this Fifine microphone? We'll come back to that in a second, because I'm going to try using this microphone in this setup, which means that I can then kind of recover my nice Audient setup there for other tasks, like the Raspberry Pi videos that are going to be coming out rather soon. So let's get this user's guide out of the way. What do we actually have in here? Let's just switch. So we have the microphone itself, which is rather small, which has a headphone jack on the back and a volume on the front, probably for the output volume, I would guess. It's got a screw mount which goes onto a proper tripod, which I appreciate. It's got quite a long looking USB that's a square type USB-B connection, not micro USB-B. It comes with a proper thread mount adapter. You can never have too many of those. And most of the weight in the box actually is this little base that it comes with. See if I can get this out. Come on. Okay, there we go. So it comes with a microphone base, which I'm going to plop on its stand. If this microphone is good enough, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually mount the microphone plus its thing up instead of this SE mic. That way I can free the microphone channel up, I can free the interface up as well. And using something like Voicemeeter Banana, I could actually use them both at the same time. That's the idea behind something like this. Now, let's just pop this on this stand for today, so I can do a sound test and an A/B comparison. There we go, so that's now on its stand. Now, let's take the camera, let's just see, come on, focus, today please, there we go. So it's got a square USB on the bottom. I'm going to plug it in now and we'll see how it sounds compared to a half decent microphone and a very decent preamp. Oh, that's interesting. The sleeving here on this thing has already come off within the first few seconds. But let's see how the mic sounds, because that really is the most important point, isn't it? I wouldn't have thought this would be an ACO device. You'd probably, if you were using Windows, have to use ACO for all to get that working. Let's now switch so you can see my desktop. So, new microphone, the mic test. That's a bit of an interesting name for it to be called. There we go. So that's now, I can see that level. That's from that far away from me. So if I go 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, okay, so it seems like I can see the levels there on the deactivated one are being affected by me turning off and on 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Oh, it must have disconnected then. Okay, so let's restart the engine again. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Right, let's find out which side is the front. I'm going to mute the X1A, turn this one on and see what we get. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, so this is the back. So the side that's got the volume knob, let's switch it round, so that's the front. Okay, so if I put these side by side, I will lift the brightness and make it a little deeper sounding with this part of Voicemeeter Banana. Let's turn the volume down a little so that the volume levels kind of match between my two mics. Get the compressor going and also the gate. And with the gate and compression, we obviously don't need as much low end by the sound of it now. So this is the Fifine mic. Fifine. And let's just mute this and switch back to the X1A through the audio. Okay, so this is the Audient ID 4 interface with the SE X1A. And this is the microphone from Fifine or Fifine or whatever you want to call them. I'm just going to take the brightness down a little so that they match. And that is actually surprisingly good. The latency is a little off. But I have to say, that's probably a Windows issue with me folding it back through Voicemeeter Banana. And I'll just take the gate off again. Yeah, there we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to reach in and turn off the boiler for a second. Let's just turn the gate off on both of them and compare the noise levels. So this is the Fifine mic. And this is the SE mic through the Audient. This one has noticeably lower noise levels, but still, let's compare the two. So back to the Fifine mic. Yeah, so I can hear more background noise there compared to this, but it does seem to be more sensitive. So let's turn the sensitivity down on the Fifine. Make sure the compression's identical and that the levels are roughly the same. The levels are still coming a little louder on the Fifine mic. There we go. Let's try that. 1 2 1 2 1 2 and back up a touch, back up a touch. There we go. Okay, so that's now the X1A, and that's the Fifine mic. I have to say, the X1A and Audient does sound classier, but at this point we have to take into consideration... I'll put this down for a sec. There we go. Yeah, so we have to take into consideration that I'm quite a long way away from this mic now, so I'm talking into the Fifine mic, or however you want to pronounce it. What you have to consider is this setup here, including the XLR cables and everything, is around £200 all told. This setup was about £50. Now, depending on what you're doing, if you're a music producer specifically, you probably want a studio level condenser and everything. Although with all the background noise I've got going on around me, it seems like the point is quite moot in some ways because it's picking up so much background noise. I couldn't use this setup on a professional production anyway. That's just because of the environment I'm in. That's one of the reasons why at my studio I make sure that everything, even in the control room, is silent, so that there's practically no self noise anywhere, which means that any track that I make is usable. Where oh, it's just wind noise when I move the thing around. Yeah, for using things for Skype calls or maybe even recording a live stream, I'm probably going to put this up where that is and boom this in. I mean, I have got, I don't know what, yep, there is a classic big old chunk of foam, which I'm going to put on it like that. And yeah, I have to say, for the money that this costs, I actually have to recommend it. I mean, I was expecting to be like, oh, this is going to be rubbish, cheap Chinese stuff, but actually it's okay for certain circumstances. Full disclosure, Fifine or Fifine or whatever you want to call them, did send me this microphone to review and keep, but they didn't pay me to do this review. They're not, you know, it's a Chinese, not very well-known company. They probably don't have the budget to pay people like me. And if it was absolutely terrible, well, I'm talking through it right now. You'd be hearing it, wouldn't you? Let's put that gate back on. There we go. Because if I was going to do anything like a Skype session or anything like that, I love this gate function. This video is as much about Voicemeeter Banana as it is about the microphone, let's be honest. So, without further ado, this video's gone on far too long, so thank you everybody for watching. I'll put a link in the description to this microphone, so if you do need a home voiceover, Skype, YouTube Live type mic, then check out this mic from Fifine. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Adam Steele for Hot Pole Studios, and the proper studio stuff will start again next week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, feel free to check out our other videos, as you can find here, or check out our Facebook and Twitter, or our Patreon page, which helps us to make more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.